Realtree's Whitetail Country is presented by Bill Jordan's Realtree, family, friends, and the outdoors.
Every week, the Whitetail Country television show reaches nearly 93 million households. And with the announcement of this season's Viewer Pro Search, the Whitetail Country hotline was flooded with entries. Over 6,000 resumes and home videos were submitted, making the choice to choose that one individual that stood out above the rest very difficult.
It was hard to select. We had a lot of different guys out there that would have qualified. I mean, a lot of hunters on there as good as any of the pros on Whitetail Country, but yet we had to come up with a winner. Now, when you meet these guys, they're the real deal. This was the resume that got you here. With all the others, there's 4 other guys coming that has a chance to be on Whitetail Country.
Awesome. I hope it's strong enough.
It's not only strong enough, I fibbed to you. You guys are the Whitetail Country pros.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. Serious as a heart attack. What an incredible presentation. I mean, I can't wait till everybody gets a chance to look at this because
It's a big deal.
Hey, Navy flyer,
Awesome.
F-18 fighter pilot, great buck hunter, and his pops. Phenomenal whitetail hunter here.
Awesome.
Whitetail Country Viewer Pros, man. It's a pleasure to introduce you to the world of Whitetail Country.
This year's Viewer Pro Search took the Whitetail Country crew northeast into Connecticut. Nestled in a rolling hillside on the outskirts of the small, quiet town of Glastonbury, resides a dedicated and passionate whitetail hunter, Mr. Mickey Dean.
Good stuff.
I started watching Whitetail Country and not missing a show last year. That was the first year that I found it early one morning on ESPN and thought, I need to check out this show every time, and I started tuning in, and it was about the second or third time that I watched the show that I recognized that they were running a contest and saying, submit your resume, and I got to thinking, why not me? I'm a passionate hunter. I like to get out in the woods as much as the next guy, and it didn't take me long though to put together that, man, my dad's the prolific whitetail hunter. It'd be awesome to submit a package that had both of us in it and just see what we could do. So after watching the show for about 3 weeks straight, I settled into trying to put our package together. Started calling my dad and say, man, send me some photos, send me all the tapes that you've made over the last 5 years, and I'll try to put something together. And he said, I'm in.
Mick came home at Christmas time and did some photos around the house of my trophies and put together a DVD to send into Whitetail Country, and of course I didn't expect anything to come of it.
When I decided to put in a resume package for myself and my dad, I just estimating, I thought they're going to get thousands of these things. I need to try to do something that's going to stand out just a little bit. My dad's head collection is pretty good. His top 10 with a bow would just about blow anybody away, but I thought I need to present this in a way that's going to work, and I decided that it wouldn't just be pictures in a cover letter. I had to do something more than that, and I thought video and sending a DVD in with 15 or 20 minutes of footage and some talking to let Tom know what we were and what we were about when it came to hunting was going to be the way to go. And spent some time over the garage for a month running, cutting and slicing and putting some transitions between the cuts in there, pretty rudimentary, but I thought it came out pretty well. Slapped the DVD with my full package and dropped it in the mail, and I was excited. When I slammed that mailbox shut, I thought, I think we've got a chance.
Learn more about this season's Viewer Pros, Mickey and Jimmy Dean, when Whitetail Country continues. In the early 1940s, life was simple. Candy bars cost less than a nickel, and time spent with family was relished. For young Jimmy Dean, growing up in rural Michigan on a dairy farm meant chores during the day and hunting in the afternoon. As time passed, the early morning cattle calls were traded in for cherry farming, and life was divided into responsibilities of family and hunting.
Mickey was my first son.
He's 40, thereabouts. I got him aviation lessons, a pilot's license for his graduation present from high school, and he carried that into a career of flying F-18s for the Navy, and I'm sure his whitetail hunting, now that he has more time to do that, he'll be as avid and serious and dedicated and successful at that as he has been with everything else he's tried in life.
Having followed in the footsteps of Dad, Mickey now lives for the outdoors. Retired from the Navy, Mickey still protects our great country by designing jet engines for Pratt & Whitney.
Whitetail hunting is such a huge part of my life because I've been doing it for so long. In fact, my dad introduced it to my brother and I when we were very young and putting us in the stands at the age of 12, and from there on it's just been part of the way I think about relaxing. I love getting out into the woods. From watching the squirrels to hoping the next booner walks in, it's just something that I'm always thinking about.
To hunt at the level that the whitetail country pros hunt at is a full-time commitment, 24/7, 365. I think Stan Potts says that all the time.
And the Deans are a perfect example of that. Perfect example of guys all around the country who love it just like we do, work hard at it just like we do, and now they're going to be in front of the camera for the first time. I think that's an awesome thing.
I'm 55 years old, and it's no different for me today than it was when I was in my teens. I absolutely live and breathe it and love it, and I will till the day I die. When I'm too old to get up in a tree, I'll sit on the ground.
The Whitetail Country Viewer Pro Search is going into season number 4, and that means one thing. The quest for the next ultimate whitetail hunter begins now. So as the saying goes, think you've got what it takes to be a WTC pro? Mickey and Jimmy Dean did, and they're now elite members of the WTC Pro staff. If you shoot big whitetails and have a passion for the outdoors, dust off the camera and record your adventures. You could get a chance to showcase your talents on Realtree's Whitetail Country. For more information on how to send in your resume, log on to www.tommiranda.com. Maybe you'll be the next Whitetail Country Pro.
You want to be the next whitetail viewer pro?
Submit your resume now.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Become a better hunter. Log on to ESPNOutdoors.com. Realtree's Whitetail Country is presented by Bill Jordan's Realtree, family, friends, and the outdoors.
This season's Best of Award goes to this season's Viewer Pros, Mickey and Jimmy Dean. This father and son hunting team gives true meaning to the saying, made in the USA.
For a living, I'm a cherry farmer. Actually, I'm a whitetail hunter for a living, but I raise cherry to support my bad habit. I have 25 or 27,000 cherry trees in Michigan, and it consumes me for about 7 months a year and leaves me 5 to be footloose and fancy free and chase whatever I feel like chasing.
This year's winners, Mickey and James Dean, put the package together. James is the father, and he lives in Michigan, and what a buck hunter. I'm talking about pictures of big bucks like Stan Potts and Bill Jordan shoot. This guy has big bucks, a huge trophy room, a phenomenal hunter. What an incredible resume. And Mickey Dean, an F-18 fighter pilot.
flew the F-18 for 6-7 years. I was in the Navy for 9, but flying the Hornet off the ship is just a super experience. I'd recommend it to anybody that can pull it off. F-18 is a super airplane around the boat. It's one of the easiest to fly. It's got a heads-up display and makes bringing it aboard the ship about as easy as it can be. Get so in the daytime it's almost a rush. It's like the e-ticket ride at the carnival. It's a challenge, but it's something you get more comfortable doing. So going off in the daytime, you're always looking for that. If you can come raging back into the break and kind of pump the troops up a little bit with a good run at the deck, it's a lot of fun. You're getting shot off at night and knowing that you got a couple-hour mission and have to come back at night, though, that's never a whole lot of fun. You're probably going to have a tanking requirement in the middle of that, so you're up against another airplane at night, and it makes it a little more of a challenge. And when you come back at night, you're just terribly focused. You typically don't realize how nervous you are until you're actually in the wires and you come to a stop and you back up and pick your hook up, and it's about that time that the emotions start catching up to you and trying to taxi up the bow with no lights on, and that's when your knees start shaking and all. But bringing it aboard, you jacked up. Heart's running, and you're just trying to keep yourself safe, and you got to land to eat. So you got to get it done every day.
This year's Whitetail Country Viewer Pros, Jimmy and Mickey Dean, you know, I tell you, they were so excited to be part of the pro staff that they went above and beyond the Call of Duty. They went out, they bought their very own video camera, they piled all their gear into the car, drove out to Iowa to film their very own whitetail country hunt. And I tell you, the footage they sent back, they filmed their own interviews, had some awesome encounters with whitetails, and the hunt that they got on film was absolutely amazing. You know, it just went to show that they had everything it takes to be in front of the camera and be part of this Whitetail Country pro staff.
Mick started hunting at a young age, as soon as he was big enough to tag along. I remember a big 8-point stepping out in front of us and him waving his hand at it, and that buck spun out and disappeared. That was his first lesson, controlling your excitement, because that was a great opportunity that escaped in just about a quarter of a second. And I'm sure he learned from that. I know he learned from that because he didn't pull anything like that afterwards.
My dad and I were selected as this year's Whitetail Country Viewer Pros, and we have had an awesome adventure and a great year. We capped it all off this year with a week in Iowa dedicated to nothing but bow hunting whitetail deer.
Viewer pros Mickey and Jimmy Dean hunt the Iowa countryside when Whitetail Country continues.
Realtree's Whitetail Country is presented by Yamaha ATVs. Ain't nothing tougher than a Yamaha. By Under Armour. The advantage is undeniable. And by Buck Bomb. The Buck Bomb blows away traditional scents.
On stand along a well-used pinch point, Whitetail Country's viewer pros Mickey and Jimmy Dean know the big buck potential of Iowa.
And Dad says, there's your shooter. Just as cool as a cucumber, there's your shooter. And I get a look finally of what's got to be double beam. I'm in disbelief. We did it. I just could not believe it. I wanted to come unglued. I could have been Superman out the top of that tree. I was so fired up.
I think the passion of whitetail hunting comes from the fact that you're never the master. You're always the student forever.
Look at that. Whitetail hunting is such a huge part of my life because I've been doing it for so long. In fact, my dad introduced it to my brother and I when we were very young and putting us in the stands at the age of 12, and from there on it's just been part of the way I think about relaxing. I love getting out into the woods, from watching the squirrels to hoping the next booner walks in, it's just something that I'm always thinking about.
What I like to see in people once they get to this level to really succeed is an humble spirit, willing to give other people credit, a certain amount of humility, and really just an overall thankfulness and feeling blessed that you're in a position that you're in to be able to hunt for a living.
To the pros of whitetail country, this is the best of. You see, the best of comes in many forms. Sharing a hunt with father and son, or between husband and wife. It comes in the form of an orange sunrise, the fluttering of morning songbirds, time spent in hunting camp, memories in timeless photographs, a glimpse of antler, Christmas morning. The best of is all about enjoying life and savoring the moment. From all of us behind the scenes, Tom Miranda, Jason Miller, and myself, Barry Evans, and all the Whitetail Country Pro staff, may your adventures be filled with the best of in the woods of Whitetail Country. The Whitetail Country Viewer Pro Search is going into season number 4, and that means one thing. The quest for the next ultimate whitetail hunter begins now. So as the saying goes, think you've got what it takes to be a WTC Pro? Mickey and Jimmy Dean did, and they're now elite members of the WTC Pro staff. If you shoot big whitetails and have a passion for the outdoors, dust off the camera and record your adventures. You could get a chance to showcase your talents on Realtree's Whitetail Country. For more information on how to send in your resume, log on to www.tommiranda.com. Maybe you'll be the next Whitetail Country Pro.
You want to be the next whitetail